back here again on the old truck. I've been driving it daily for about the last month, I'd say. We actually just got through with a small job with the Mini for somebody. So we hauled the Mini excavator. It weighs about 3,800 pounds. It's not a whole lot of weight, but got to give her a little bit of a run. Got to rattle a few windows with those straight pipes running through town, but I've been really enjoying driving this truck, I want to be honest. That short wheelbase makes it really nice for driving through town, but over the past month I've been fixing things here and there. Some of them very necessary, some of them not. We're going to throw those clips in and I'd say we got some work to do today. We got the wheels chalked up with blocks. Especially a truck been sitting a long time, you need to keep a check on everything. But even if it's something you just bought or driving for 10 years, need to keep a check on everything. U-bolts are one of the most common overlooked things. Now I don't know why, but I have a weird luck with them getting loose. So I always end up replacing them with new, but we're gonna tighten these up. But when I was under here jacking up, you can see the bright shiny spot. Even after 4 days of driving, you can already tell that that axle's been moving around on both sides. So we're going to tighten it up, but we're going to order some new U-bolts. There's no telling how long they drove it with those loose. Greasy. Now the question is whether the cleanliness is worth the mud hole. It's a good thing we're pulling this apart because this thing kind of nasty. Good thing we're doing this. We'll go ahead and change the whole rear end oil. Get it off of there one day. That oil to be so nasty, it ain't like it's rusted or nothing. Good time to catch it. You can steadily see that wheel cylinder just pouring oil. I bought an entire kit. Brakes, adjusters, everything. That little cable broke, so we needed everything. It's the easiest way to do that. Surprised that came out, to be honest with you, like that. That one's falling completely apart. Make it easier later. Put some anti-seize on our bleeder screw. Just gonna go ahead and leave it loose. I'm also gonna put some on the mountain bolts. Alright, we got our new wheel cylinder in there. Got our brakes put together with the new cable. I ordered a spring kit, the brakes, but I also ordered the hardware kit, and it comes with new slack adjusters, everything. I took that apart and put anti-seize on the thread. Keep it good for a lot longer. To be honest, I ain't never done brakes on a Sterling 10 1/4. I'll have to invest in some microphone setup, help with the wind. Oh, it's right there. Alright. We must gotta learn a trick about them. Alright, and dodging the rainstorms yesterday, we got the brakes put on both sides. That was a little bit tricky. I ain't never done brakes on a 10 1/4 yet. It wasn't too bad. I'd never dealt with this style where the spring hooks that, but our spindle looks okay. It ain't perfect, but this style of seal will work on that. Now, something I forgot about, these have a O-ring that goes in the screw. We got that all cleaned up. I didn't get a new O-ring, but the old O-ring looks pretty decent. We're just gonna RTV it and put it on there, and we'll RTV this surface. Now for this axle, Timken showed 2 different seals, but in that box you'll get a new seal and a driver for it. That's pretty nice. Fits good. But this seal is more like 18-wheeler style. But what's nice about these style seals is it don't rotate on the shaft. The seal rotates on itself, so it seals against itself, so you don't wear the shaft down from wearing seals out over the years. I like to just put a real thin skim coat on the outside of a seal. I've had them leak just from poor castings or machining grooves. Real thin coat, that's all it takes. Don't forget your back bearing. Half the time I forget that and have to pull it back apart. Wipe off the excess. That's way better when you have the actual driver for it. These have a real interesting style lock nut. It's got teeth on it. It's got a tab to align it. And the driver's side is left-hand thread. Like I said, one day I'll end up with proper sockets, but that style's pretty quick to put on there. It's a little bit tricky to get the right preload, but feels good. Alright, now do yourself a favor and keep a check on these bolts. Keep them torqued. You don't want this axle getting loose. It'll sit there and round out the bolt holes and cause a lot of issues for you later on. Got our drums cleaned out. Be a good time to paint the outside and this hub, make it look pretty. That's not in the scope of this project for today, so. Just painting them hubs and this axle in makes it look a whole lot better. Recommend doing that if you're working on one. They balance some tires with the beads. You can hear them rolling around in there. Well, we planned too much into this weekend, so we're out here Sunday night pulling this rear diff cover off. Let's clean it out a little bit and put us a new gasket on there. Fresh oil. Now this is a cab and chassis truck, so the fuel tank was made a little bit taller and not as wide so that it fit between the frame rails. So it's a little bit in the way on the top bolts, but not too bad. It's a good thing we're changing the oil in it. don't see nothing wrong with it right this second, but no metal shavings or broken teeth or nothing in here. But I can tell where at one time the pinion has definitely hit the carrier. That's pretty interesting. That's clearly the reason they've been into this axle before. Yeah, somebody's been into this, working on it before. I'll get up there and check that front pinion bearing with a dry shaft on it. It ain't been doing it recently, but it's definitely hit the carrier at one time. That's crazy. What's crazy is nothing is rusty in there, but the oil is super like milky. A lot more dark brown than what milky oil should be though. Well, it took me a hot minute to clean it out, but a little bit of gasoline and a can of brake cleaner, and that's pretty nice in there. I'm pretty happy with it. It's a shame the oil got so dirty. I don't know what caused that, but there's no rust in there or anything, so real happy with it. Like I said, there's damage where the old pinion had hit the carrier in the past, but the ring gear and the pinion have somebody's initials in them, and no teeth have been touched on those, so I'm pretty happy with all that and the spider gears. It's pretty spotless in there. I'm happy with it. We're gonna button it up just like it is, but they just had silicone on this cover. I did end up picking up a gasket for it, so we're gonna put the gasket on there with RTV on both sides of the gasket. Alright, got all those pretty snug. A little bitty old bolts though. I'm used to working on 4 9-inches where, or 18 wheelers where they got the big old bolt holding the actual carrier assembly together. Now hopefully that gasket and RTV does this right. I have seen some rear ends where if you put a gasket in it, it's gonna leak. So we may end up having to pull it off of there and just glue it on there. We'll find out. Alright, well I guess we'll work on a few creature comforts. Anybody who's drove these older trucks know about these. These raggedy old plastic handles will break off really easy. Our driver's side's actually broke off while I'm doing this, but if you go online and hunt for, I think around mid-late 80s, early 80s, you can get these for the Ford trucks. They're still cast metal, so I mean you can break them, but I've never broken one of these. Broke a bunch of these though. They're pretty easy to change out. They look a whole lot better too, in my opinion, but I think you can get them for around $10 a piece. Well worth it. If I remember right, these take an 8mm. We'll see if we can do it without taking the door panel off. These are actually original Ford ones. They're the same, they just, one's metal. And there you go, there's a big upgrade. Shame this door panel's looking so dirty. Might have to clean it up after that. Way better. Now if you want to stay with the plastic ones or even make these last longer, you need to take the door panel off and lube your latches, especially right here. I've been driving it for the last 2 weeks without a inside door handle. It gets old having to open the door. It gets old having to roll the window down to open your door. There we go. Definitely need to lube that latch up, but like a brand new one. Kind of annoying they didn't just keep making those throughout all the years. Well, the door handle on the inside's a huge step in the right direction, but that fixes that part. But if you're riding down the road and that's all you hear, about time to do something about it. All it is there's a plastic bushing that goes around the striker, and over the years it breaks and falls off. So this is a pretty cheap, easy fix. A lot of people will take like PIX plumbing pipe and wrap around it. And that's certainly a cheap way, but I just went ahead and bought these while I was ordering parts. Just go ahead and put them on there. It's a pretty simple little project, just takes a torch bit. I'll forget to put anti-seize on it, make it easier next time. And from the dirt you can usually tell where it was sitting. I try to put them back where they were, if the door shuts good anyway. You can see there it's not but a plastic sleeve. Well, it don't rattle anymore, so that's a step in the right direction. But you can see how far it falls when it comes off the striker. Now I put it in a factory location, but in this case, I can sit there and lift up down on the door. That means our hinge bushings is wore out. So we'll have to get some of them ordered, but that's not too big of an ordeal to deal with. We'll get this latch lubed up, make it where that'll last a little bit longer. Now, as you can see on this bed, they had at one time, they had the filler neck coming through the side, out here to the side. But apparently they didn't get the right angle or the vent right on the tank, so I guess it wasn't working too good for them. So they came back and cut holes in the bed and run them straight up. Kind of annoying if you're hauling something on the bed and need some fuel. But I'd say that needs a new fuel cap. There's no telling how much dirt and water we're getting in over 12 years of sitting. We gotta work on this tank anyway. Just bought some old cheap fuel caps off of Rock Auto. Might have to find some good ones, I don't know. We'll see how these work. I guarantee you that's how that got broke. There's nothing to hold that door up level with the bed. Somebody stepped on it, broke the top off. We'll have to at least put us a stopper on that door. keep this in as a spare. But that'll work pretty good. And I've just been finding random broke wires all over the place on this thing. Looks like a goat or something chewed through that. Man, look at the grass getting. It's only the 31st of March and I've already got to mow weekly. But anyway, if you recall in one of our last videos, we put a new front end on Maria. It's been holding up pretty good, but we've moved on to this older truck that probably needs a front end itself, but mainly from sitting, the radius arm bushings are gone. This one's actually got a metal shield over the bushing. But if we come over here to the driver's side, you can tell we have no bushing at all on either side. Believe it or not, this is one of the straightest driving trucks I've been in. It just makes a little bit of a racket with that. Normally to replace these bushings, you'd have to do like we did on Maria and pull the whole radius arm off of it. So we're going to do a bit of a trick I've learned, and you can cut the rivets off these brackets and pull them off and then replace it with I believe it's 1/2 inch bolts, and that'll get you going in a lot easier project. And then later down the road, if you got to put some more in it, it's an easy project in too, even easier. Now this is the driver's side, but all it holds these on are a rivet there. I've already ground the head of it all. Then you got a rivet right here and one right in front of you. Now with a 4.5 inch grinder, you can get the head off of that pretty good. I pie cut through that one pretty good. We're gonna try to cut the rest off with a chisel, but I couldn't get my grinding wheel anywhere near that one. So I went on top on the inside of the frame to cut that one. On the other side, the exhaust is in the way, so I may have to get fancy with my die grinder and get that one. Then once you get those 3 rivets, all you have is 1 bolt. Now why in the world they would do 3 rivets and 1 bolt, I have no idea. Well, there's one of them. Can't say that that was very fun, but finally got it out. This is definitely an air hammer project. Not much of a bushing anymore, is it? Now the shaft itself on the radius arm has a little bit of wear in it right there, but this one's not too bad at all. I'm perfectly fine with running that. If it sat there and worn a lot into that, you might consider replacing it. Err on the side of caution, you know. This, on the other hand, we got a decent little bit of wear in it. Of course, it's thinner. Now, I'm not sure Now, I'm not sure I'd really recommend welding that up, but this year I'm going to take my MIG gun and get some material built back up in that bottom. Shape it a little better for the bushing so it don't just wear it out faster. Here's what the rivets look like. The heads on them. Pretty simple. Can be a bear to remove sometimes, because even if you move the head, the neck of it might still be mushroomed out, so it can still be hard to remove even without the head on it. Now, in our new bushing kit, this piece won't even fit over the outside anymore because it's done deformed it down here in the bottom. It really shows you how much it's deformed in the bottom with the bushing in there. So we're going to take and build this back up, and we'll take our grinder and shave this part down until this fits up back over it nicely. And then we'll use a burr bit to clean up the inside so it fits nice around that bushing again. Well, it's not the most beautiful piece, but certainly got more meat than it had factory, and it fits good again, so that'll work. And then the outside ring fits over the top pretty good. A little bit snug. It's a little bit snug, but that's even better. Let's go see about putting it back on the truck. Alright, now the bolt that had in it was metric, I believe, but it fits a 1/2 inch threaded bolt. These size for the rivets, the hole's just ever so slightly smaller, so I'm going to take my die grinder and clean them up a little bit so the 1/2 inch bolt will fit. That'll be far better. Now I'm only rolling with what I have for this evening so I can make it back to work tomorrow, but tomorrow I'll pick up some bolts with a little bit of a shoulder on them. It'll make them too long, but you're far better having the shoulder on the bolt to poke through the frame on the truck. It'll be a lot stronger that way. And you don't want to use a regular nut with a lock washer. That'll vibrate loose on something like this. Nylocks will last a little bit longer, but I don't even recommend them. You want to stop and get you some Stover lock nuts. I believe this is the proper name for them. I always call them squish nuts, but I'll pick some of those up tomorrow. Neighbor's miniature horses sound like pigs out there running around. Keep headbutting the camera too. Need to get a jack to put it up there in place. And there we go. Turned out pretty decent. Still got to get the different hardware, but that'll make us to work. It's not very safe with that style lock nut though. We didn't cut no brake line or pinch them, so we're good to go. About gotten dark on us for this evening. I can't wait to drive it tomorrow and it not sound like somebody's beating on the bottom of the truck with a sledgehammer. Still driving straight though. I got some ideas for better camera lighting. It'll help out a lot, especially for projects like this. Getting dark and hard to see and makes camera lighting not so good. I've also got to invest in a better microphone setup and probably build some kind of shield around the air conditioner. A bunch of these videos I'll be right in the middle of trying to explain something and the air conditioner will cut on and that's all you can hear. Birds sure are chirping this evening. But anyway, I've had a leak in the cab just when it rains, so ain't the heater core or nothing, but I think it's safe to say we might have a bad cab light or two. I just bought some off of Amazon. This will be my second or third set of these I bought, I think, for several trucks, but I've been pretty happy with them. My first set of clear, cheap ones I bought lasted probably 7 years, so can't complain about that. The only problem I do have with these cheap sets is the screws they come with aren't stainless, so those will rust up real quick. So grab you a few of those before you get started on this project. Then I have a full set of new bulbs to go in them. Usually I buy LEDs, but this go around we're just going with some regular ones. Now unfortunately this old pigtail won't fit in these newer lights, so you end up having to clip them and splice in their included pigtails. Something I also mentioned is I like buying the orange bulbs to go in them, especially if you're going with the clear, I guess you call them smoke lights. I like to test them out before I stick the new light on there. I like to put a super thin layer of RTV on there. Help seal it to the cab a little bit. That cab ain't perfectly flat like these lights are, so every little bit helps. And I also put some in the screw hole, because the screws of course don't have rubber around them or nothing, so. Factory ones are flat. Got a little bit different foam in them. And something to think about when you go to order them lights. The first set I bought came with LEDs with them. These were actually orange because they were for a clear smoke colored light. But as you can see, it's got 2, 4, 6, 8, 12 LED lights on this one piece. I wouldn't recommend that because when they're up there in the housing, that's all you can see is all 12 of them lights. It doesn't like have a glowing effect. The new door handles have been working good the last couple weeks. I went ahead and bought some new window cranks. The fit and finish ain't amazing, but for the price of them, I think it was like $5 a piece. Can't go wrong. Still be better than the plastic. These just happen to be the Dorman ones. We'll see how long they'll last, or if they even fit. Now this one's actually missing the knob and the plastic cover that goes down. About half the time I use these, I end up yanking the knob off, trying to roll the window up or down. So I'm hoping these hold up a lot better. That'll be really nice. In this case, the screw for it's a T20. And then if you really care, you pay attention to which direction you install it on. And when you put the other side on, you match it.